James Bernicki, welcome back to the show.
It's always a pleasure to be here.
So I understand you have some more truth or myth for me today.
Yep, a lot of myths out there. Some are truths, and we'll try to get to the bottom of them.
All right, well, let's jump right in. What do you have for me?
So we've had a lot of questions in the past where people will call us and say, well, my friend and I, or my relative and I, we've agreed on a purchase price for my house. Can't I just sign it over to him and he just writes me a check and we just be done with it and we don't have to deal with everything else?
Ooh, I am going to say that is a myth.
That is a myth. There's just so much more involved in it for the protection of both parties. There's things like title insurance. There could be questions about the survey. Some people don't know where exactly their lot line ends. Maybe their property's on their neighbors, and that can create a lot of problems. And it's unsafe for a buyer to buy without knowing exactly what they're buying. And it's unsafe for a seller to sell when there may still be some hanging on things that a buyer can come back later. You want to make sure that the transaction is that final piece where the seller no longer owns it, no longer has any responsibility. Buyer takes it free and clear, and they can live there peacefully without worrying about issues coming up down the road.
Yes, absolutely. More information is always better information.
Exactly.
All right, second myth, hit me with it.
So a lot of people say that this is going to be a seller's market in the spring. If it is a seller's market, some people want to save a few bucks and they say, oh, can't I just put my home up on Marketplace or on social media and just take in offers from anybody? That'll work, right?
Oh my goodness. Okay, so I'm a realtor. I've gotten similar questions, and please don't do that. That is a myth.
It is a myth in that it's a very, very bad idea because studies have shown that listing with a realtor actually gets you more money than listing it by yourself. So you're probably not saving the money you think you are, first of all. Plus, it's just a lot of work. Are you, as a seller, do you want to coordinate all the showings? Do you want to have strangers in your house that you have never met before? Do you want to make sure that they're pre-qualified? Do you want to write up a contract? There's just a lot of things involved in it that it's not just as simple as saying, well, I'm just going to put my house up there and take a bunch of DMs from strangers.
No, and from a safety perspective, too.
Yeah.
You know, you don't know who these people are.
No, are you wanting to run background checks on everybody that comes into your house? A realtor can do that for you. So
Yep.
probably best to just leave it to the professionals, I guess.
I agree completely.
Something you can do yourself, but maybe you shouldn't.
Yeah.
Speaking of the upcoming seller's market that we think it'll be, a lot of buyers really find a house they want, or maybe they haven't they've lost some deals before, and they say, well, I'm just going to bid way over list, and I'm going to waive inspection, and I'm going to do a non-refundable earnest money. I got to make sure that I win this offer.
Ooh, well, there were some not so great ideas in that question. So we'll go with myth for this one too.
Yeah, it's, again, probably not the best idea. The contract is written there for, again, protection of the buyer, protection of the seller. And you, as a buyer, may really, 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 really want this house, but if you waive the inspection and give non-refundable deposits, and you find out later that it needs all new plumbing, or the foundation is crumbling, you've just lost that deposit, and you might buy this house with all these problems, but you've paid more than it's worth, and you might really put yourself in trouble. So things are put there for people's protection, and those are generally, almost always, not the best idea. Just, even if you really, really want that house, there'll be another one.
For sure. And there is a difference between waiving the inspection and taking a house as is.
That is also true. You can make your offer a little more desirable by saying as is, which would still give you the option to back out if the inspection wasn't good. Whereas just waiving the inspection completely, you're taking it like it is, all its flaws, all its money pit problems.
Yep, too scary.
No.
All right, what's our next truth or myth?
So the next one is, all states use lawyers for closings.
I mean, I think they should. I'll say truth for this one because I think they should.
It's a myth. Actually, Illinois and the Chicago area is one of the few areas that uses attorneys for closings, which I've talked to people in other states, and the result of not having an attorney at closing is there are tons and tons of post-closing litigations. And there's lots of courtroom drama about, well, this person didn't disclose this, they didn't tell me this happened post-closing. And the job of an attorney, a closing attorney, especially here in the area, is to prevent those sort of things, to make sure everything's done at closing, everything, buyers know exactly what they're getting into so that there's not that kind of post-closing drama. We want to make sure that the seller is paying off everything they need to at closing, giving proper credits, things like that. And without an attorney, some of those legal explanations might get lost and then result in conflict later.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, let's do one more truth or myth.
We'll do one more. So residential and commercial real estate, they're the same.
Oh, goodness. You know what? They are not. That is a myth.
That is a myth. There's a lot of differences in them, and it's important to have somebody that's familiar with the particular type of real estate that you're investing in, buying, selling, or what have you. With residential versus commercial, you might have different kinds of surveys, like environmental. You might be dealing with rent rolls and estoppels and different things, zoning, things like that. Whereas residential, you've got mortgages and surveys and homeowners associations and things like that. So they do have similarities, but there's a lot of differences between the two that it's important to have somebody who has a little experience and knows what they're doing in that particular type of real estate.
Well, thank you so much for being here today. I feel like I learned a lot.